folks, welcome back to Rule of Thumb, and welcome to the 5th video of Jarred Up January. So, today we're going to do something different again. So, I was talking with some friends of mine about pasties. Now, pasties are not going to be something that everybody is familiar with. Those of us who grew up and lived in or around Upper Michigan know them because they're very predominant up there. What they are is a handheld pie that is filled with meat and potatoes and various veggies depending on where you get them. The history of them is they come from Cornwall, England, and they were originally basically conceived as a lunch for miners so that they could wrap them up, take them down into the mine, and they would be able to eat them in the wrapping without washing their hands so that they could eat it out of the wrapping and have a warm lunch and be sustained until dinner time. At least that's the history that I know behind them. So the pasties that I grew up with were potatoes, rutabagas, and meat, ground beef typically. I'm going to do a little bit of a twist on it, but I'm going to stay pretty close to the traditional. And I am going to can the filling. So I'm going to can the meat and vegetables so that all I have to do when I want a pasty is pull the jar out, either make a quick pie crust or even buy the frozen ones, or buy frozen puff pastry if you want something a little bit more decadent, and put the filling in and bake them, and I have dinner. So I thought it was worth a shot. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring you down here so you can see the ingredients I'm going to use, and then I'll tell you what we're going to do from there. Okay folks, we're back. So this is what we're working with. So I'm going to use russet potatoes. I like the starchy russet potato. I think it's what works best. So that's what I'm going to use. I'm going to peel these and cube them up. This is a rutabaga. So if you have not had a rutabaga before, it's hard to describe the taste. It's probably closer to like a turnip, or like maybe a cross between a turnip and a parsnip. It has a hard waxy coating. They're kind of a pain to peel unless you have a really sharp peeler. But I'm going to peel these up and cube those up. I have a bunch of baby carrots. This is the twist I'm going to use because I'm going to put carrots in mine, and not all pasties have carrots in them. I took baby carrots and I just cut them into thirds. And then this is ground beef that I pre-cooked. I also happen to have a package of mushrooms in my refrigerator that I wanted to use up, so I went ahead and chopped those up and put those in there as well. So this is just pre-cooked ground beef, a little salt and pepper, and the mushrooms, and simple as that. And then what I'm going to use for the flavor boost in this is I'm going to use beefy onion soup mix. So my plan is to put probably a tablespoon or so of this in each jar. I'm going to can these in quarts, and then fill it with water, and it will create like a beefy onion soup mix that will flavor everything in the jar. That's my plan. So I'm going to go ahead and get my vegetables all cut up. I am keeping the pieces a little bit on the larger side, just like I did with the soups earlier this month, just because I find that the vegetables hold their integrity. You still kind of have the chew of the vegetable when they come out of the jar, and that's what I want with these, especially because they are then going to be baked in the oven. So I don't want everything to turn to mush. So that's my plan. I'm going to get all this stuff cut up. I am going to get it layered into jars, and I will bring you back at that point so you can see how we're doing. Okay folks, welcome back. So I have got the jars layered. So what I wanted to really bring you back and show you here is the proportions. Okay, so there's just a little bit of meat. I've got the potatoes, the rutabagas, and a little bit of carrot on top. It's important to point out that this is also something that they did to stretch a budget. You know, meat does not have to be the primary component of the meal. So, you know, they had a little bit of meat in there for the flavor, but then, you know, the primary part of it was vegetables. So, this is 3 pounds of 80/20 ground beef. So, I cooked it up, took off the fat, and then, so you figure we're going to get 7 meals out of 3 pounds of ground beef. So, that's more than less than half a pound of ground beef per meal for the two of us, which I think is more than sufficient. So just to kind of, you know, put a perspective on proportions, you know, meat does not have to be the primary component. So I have everything layered in here. I am going to I opened some packages of that beefy onion soup mix, so I'm going to go ahead and put some of that on top here. Now these seem a little full, but I have a feeling they're going to settle a little when I put the water in them, and if not, then I'll have to make some adjustments. But I'm using my past experience as a guide, and I think that these will settle down a little. So I'm using 3 packets of the beefy onion soup mix for the 7 jars. I'm just dividing it up evenly here. And then we're gonna put some water in here and see what happens. Alright, so we want to go to 1 inch of headspace, which is right there. Set this down. Okay, I got my handy dandy chopstick here, and we're going to debubble. And this is where I believe we will gain some space. But, like I said, I could be wrong. We may have to make some adjustments. Alright, we are pretty close here, so I was almost right on the money, which is what I like to see. So we're gonna maybe take one more poke at this just to make sure I got any extra air pockets, and I can see here on the side where I can tuck a little down. So these will take a little fussing to get them right where I want them. I got everything underneath of there, and that is what I am looking for. So I'm going to fill the rest of these like that, and then I'll come back and show you putting the lids and rings on, and then we'll get them in the canner. Okay folks, welcome back. So as you can see, we have all the jars filled. We've got 1 inch headspace in all of our jars. Now what I'm going to do is take a little cloth here with some vinegar, and we're going to clean these rims really well, because we do have meat in there, so we want to make sure we didn't leave any fat or anything on the rims of them. So, give them a good, thorough wipe down. And make sure we're giving ourselves the best possible chance of coming out with a sealed jar. Alright, so got that, and we're going to take a lid, maybe, put it on there, grab one of our rings, fingertip tight, and that, my friends, is going to be pasty filling. So these are going into the canner. I just turned my canner on because I didn't want to shock the jars. Because, you know, everything in here is essentially cool. The meat was a little bit warm still from browning it up, and I put, you know, hot water in over the vegetables, but the vegetables were all raw. None of the vegetables were par cooked. So the jars are still relatively cool, so I didn't want to put them in a hot canner. So I just turned my canner on. I'm going to bring everything up to temperature together. I'm going to let my canner vent for 10 minutes, and then I'll put my weight on. let it come up to the 11 pounds of pressure that my canner needs for my area. Make sure you do your research on what you need. Then I'm going to process these for 90 minutes, which is the time for meat for quart-sized jars. And then I will let it come down off of pressure completely. I will crack my lid, let it sit for another 10 minutes or so. Then I will take the lid off and I'll bring these out and I'll bring you back so you can see the finished product. Okay folks, welcome back. I just took the jars out of the canner and they are beautiful. So, put this up here close for you. You can see, I mean, you still have all the integrity of the vegetables, which is exactly what I was hoping for. I did get a little bit of evacuation, which is not ideal. It's not going to affect the finished product, I don't think, but so since this is a learning experience for me because I haven't done this before, I would say maybe what I would do the next time I do this is maybe leave a little extra headspace, maybe not fill the jars so full, or maybe a combination of both. So maybe put a little less product and maybe a little extra headspace. So yeah, so it might be something I'll have to play with again in the future, but the finished product overall I think is beautiful, and I'm very happy with it. So if you like this video, come back and see us again soon. Like, share, subscribe. Make sure you check out Mandy tomorrow. She's got another great video coming out. If I'm not mistaken, she's doing a soup. And then check out everybody else in the collaboration. This is the last week, so you're going to see everybody else once more. And it's going to be 31 videos of canning in the month of January, which is a pretty awesome thing. So I hope you've checked out all the videos. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thank you for coming along with us. Like I said before, come back and see us soon. And as always, I hope you had a great day.